afternoon or good evening to you wherever you are in the world. Welcome to my channel. My name is Meg and I am a fully qualified yoga teacher, a beautician and a masseuse. And this is my YouTube channel where I talk a lot about yoga, tips and tricks and things that you guys can follow along from home, but also some health and wellness as well. So if that is something that you're interested in, please go and hit the subscribe button. It honestly means the absolute world to me, and it means that you don't miss out on a class whenever I post onto my channel. Today I am teaching or posting the flow that I have been teaching throughout this month. So we're in November. Yeah, we're in November, aren't we? This is the flow I taught through in November. Normally I post my flows at the end of the month, but I'm going to start bringing them at the beginning of the month. The reason for this is anybody that is coming to my classes in person, it means that you guys can practice during the month rather than having to wait until the month is over then to be able to keep practicing it, because it then means obviously when you come to your classes you'll be a little bit further along. For those of you who don't come to my classes, it doesn't really mean that much to you, but instead of having my flow for the month coming at the end of the month, it will now come at the beginning. I know it's the middle of November now, but from now on I'm hoping to kind of get them out at the beginning of the month. This flow is such a good flow. We're working on shoulder mobility, shoulder strength, and shoulder flexibility on the front and the back of the shoulders. This is all about working through those shoulders. I would recommend having a good warm-up before you come into this flow, so practicing your sun salutations, maybe potentially doing some cat-cow spines, getting some mobility through the shoulders, so shoulder rolls, shoulder circles. When you're coming into those cat-cow spines, maybe really push through the cat spine to get a good stretch across the back of your shoulder blade. Maybe come into a thread the needle, puppy pose, those kind of things that are going to help to get that, to really get the shoulders ready for this flow. You can use blocks and you can use straps if you want to during this flow, and when you're ready we will get started. You have two options to come into the beginning of this flow. Either way, we're going to start in our down dog, and from our down dog it's then choosing which transition works best for you. So let's start into our tabletop, ready to come into a down dog. Hands are underneath the shoulders with your fingers spread, knees are underneath the hips. We're shifting the hips back towards the heels, flexing the toes, lifting the knees and lifting all the way up into your down dog. Push through the hands and lift the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Your two options are as follows. Your first option is to come up onto the toes, roll the weight forwards and drop your hips down into either an up dog, so your legs are lifted, or into a cobra with the legs down. Whichever you prefer to do here, completely up to you. If you would rather come into our harder version, you can start in your down dog, and we'll begin just by warming up through the shoulders. So we're going to come into our dolphin pose from here. This is going to really work through your shoulders. So you might try this and think, nah, the transition is going to be too much, or you might think, yeah, dolphin pose works well for me, we can do this. So you're making sure you're nice and strong in your down dog. Your fingers are spread and you're pushing through your hands, lifting the tailbone up towards the ceiling. We're going to rotate the elbows down towards the mat and take the forearms down. This is your dolphin pose. You can stay here, maybe this is enough. You can shuffle forwards and then pick back up into your down dog. So your options, down dog, feel nice and strong, and then we'll come through our transition. Option number 2, dolphin, hold this, find strength. Maybe you're going to do down dog, rock forwards, and back up into your dolphin. Whatever you decide, just take a few moments, maybe practice through your dolphin, ready to come into the transition. So remembering, first transition, up onto the toes, dropping the hips down, into your cobra or up dog. Option number 2, we're going to take this slow. And again, you can always pause the video and practice this transition a few times if you want. We're coming into dolphin. Nose comes forward towards the thumbs, lifting one elbow and then the other, pushing up into your cobra. So we'll do that again, just so you can see. We're coming down onto the forearms, rocking forwards, lifting one elbow and then the other, picking up into your cobra or your up dog. Choose whichever feels best for you, and when you're ready, we'll meet into your cobra or up dog. Deep breath in, and we'll take the chest down. The arms are coming out in front, and we're going to lift the arms and the legs at the same time. So we're working our back muscles here. Deep breath in, and lift. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze through the legs, squeeze through the back and the shoulder blades, lift the arms up high. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take everything down. Hands come underneath the shoulders. We're picking up and back into your tabletop. You want to make sure you're in a good solid tabletop with your hands and your feet in the correct position to help you for your next move. So you're spreading through the fingertips and your hands are underneath your shoulders. We're coming into a thread the needle from here. We're lifting the right arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Imagine someone's pushing on that right shoulder to take it further round. Deep breath in. Exhale, we'll thread the right arm underneath the left and take the right ear down into the mat. You can walk the left hand out in front into your thread the needle. So this is option number 1. Maybe you're able to start to lift up the left leg. Maybe bend into the knees. Maybe you can come all the way up. Wherever you are, find your point of balance and hold this here. Walk the left hand back under the face, and if you can, keeping that left leg lifted, we're going to come all the way up. You may need to take a second here to make sure that your left hand is still directly underneath your shoulder. We're going to push through the hand. Maybe this feels enough for you with just your leg lifted. Maybe you can lift the opposite hand as well. Maybe you can bend into the left knee. Maybe you can grab hold of the foot and come into your tiger pose. The trick here is to push through the shoulder, push into the mat and kick into the hand. Deep breath in and exhale to let go. Hands are underneath the shoulders again. If your knees are quite tender and you feel like you haven't got great flexibility in your inner hips, I would suggest turning to face the long edge of the mat or placing something like a cushion, blanket or something like that under the knees for this next pose. We're going to walk the knees out so that they're just wider than hip width, flex the toes and take the feet directly behind the knees. So we don't want them in together, we don't want them far apart, we want them directly behind your knees with the toes flexed. We're coming into frog pose. So maybe this feels enough on your hips, maybe you can come further down. Wherever you are, make sure that your feet are directly behind your knees so that your knee and your ankle are in a straight line. You can stay here in your frog pose if you want. Your hands are under the shoulders. Maybe you can come down onto the forearms. Maybe you can come into a thread the needle variation. Now you might find this difficult if you haven't got much flexibility in your hips, so if you can't get low enough down, you might find that it's hard for you to come into this. So if the thread the needle variation is too much, just focus on the hips. You can always add on in the future. So we're threading the right arm underneath the left and taking the right ear down to the mat. Walk that left arm out in front into your frog pose with a thread the needle variation. Breathing here. We'll bring that left hand back underneath the face or by the face and pick up through the hands back into your frog pose. Shuffle the weight forwards, take the feet in together. You can either bring the knees together and then come up into your down dog, or you can bring the feet together and pick straight up into your down dog, whatever feels best for you. Keep nice and strong here, ready to do the same again on the other side. Perfect, let's come on to the other side. Remembering your two transitions. So your easier one, up onto the toes, roll the hips down and forwards, squeeze the shoulder blades together, push the chest forwards, into your cobra or your up dog. Holding this here if you're coming into your easier transition. Harder transition in your down dog. We're bringing the forearms down, dolphin, taking the weight forwards, lifting one elbow and then the other, picking up into your cobra or your up dog. Holding this here, meeting in cobra, push that chest forwards, keep the brow soft, and we'll slowly take everything down. Arms are coming out in front, legs slightly separating, ready to lift everything. Deep breath in, and lift. Squeeze through the body. We'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down. Hands underneath the shoulders. We're picking up and back into your down dog with the hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Making sure that your hands are in the correct place. So you want to make sure that the fingers are spread and they're underneath your shoulders so you're in the correct position to hold that tabletop variation. I meant thread the needle variation. We're lifting the left arm up this time, gazing up towards the ceiling. Push that shoulder around a little bit further. Gaze up. Deep breath in. Exhale, we'll thread the left arm underneath the right and take the left ear down into the mat. Maybe walk that right arm out and in front. Maybe you can lift your right knee here. So you could begin by just simply hovering the knee. Maybe you're only going to lift the knee and keep the foot down, or maybe just lift the foot. Play around with it here, see what feels best. Maybe you can lift through the leg. Holding this here, find your center of gravity. Squeeze the glute. We'll walk that right arm back underneath the shoulder, pushing up through the hand, keeping the leg lifted if you can. If you need to take that back knee down, if it's lifted, absolutely go for it. We're pushing through the shoulder, maybe just taking the back leg behind so your right leg is lifted. Squeeze through that glute, find that strength here. Maybe you can keep the left arm lifted as well. Maybe you can bend into the right leg, and maybe you can grab hold of the foot. Push through your right hand and kick into your left hand. Feeling nice and strong here. Lift the leg up higher. Keep pushing. Deep breath in. Exhale to come back down into your tabletop. Same thing again, we're going into that frog pose. If you need to turn around so your mat is cushioning your knees, or you want to pop anything underneath them, now's the time to grab it. We're taking the knees slightly wider than hip width, toes are behind, and then sliding into it, coming down a little bit further. Making sure you're flexing through the toes and your heels are directly behind your knees in a straight line. Maybe you just want to work on your frog pose here. Maybe your hips aren't quite at the point where you can come into a thread the needle variation. It's no problem. Hold this here if you need to. If you can, we're going to take the left arm and take it underneath the right. Walk the right arm up to the top of the mat. You should feel a stretch in your hips, maybe the glutes a little bit too, into the shoulder and through the arm. We'll walk that right arm back in. Push through the hand to come up into your frog pose again. Shuffle your weight forwards, bring the toes together. Either pick up through the hands and bring the knees together into your child's pose, or your tabletop into a down dog, or maybe you can pick up and back into your down dog. Push through the hands, push through the knees, deep breath in, and exhale to come all the way down into your child's pose. Taking a second here. bring the breath back and bring the heart rate back. I really hope you enjoyed that flow. That is one of my favourites I've ever taught. I swear I say that every single month, but it really is, especially that coming through the dolphin. Once you've nailed it, once you've mastered it, it makes you feel really strong. It really does work all those tiny little muscles in your shoulders. So it does make you feel really strong, really good when you're able to do it. It's a slow process. Some people I've found have been able to do it really quickly. Others it takes a little bit of time. So if you're someone that's maybe tried it and gone, absolutely not, really difficult, keep trying, keep working on that dolphin pose. Maybe just come into dolphin, lift an elbow and take it back down. These tiny movements are going to all create that strength. If it was easy, everybody would do it. No one would come to yoga classes, no one would learn yoga because it would just be like breathing. Mind you, we all use pranayama anyway in yoga for breathing. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, please subscribe. I do have a super thanks button now as well if you'd like to donate and contribute to my channel. It's always really welcomed. I've got so many things that I'm so excited to bring forward to you guys, and yeah, the more support I get, the quicker I can bring this all to you. So even if you're just watching these videos, liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, it all means so much. Honestly, even if you're just watching these videos, it really, really does mean the world to me. It does. So thank you so much. And I look forward to practicing with you all again soon. Thanks. Bye.